The 5th century AD marked a profound turning point for the Roman Empire. Its vast dominion, once seemingly eternal, began to fracture under immense internal and external pressures. As the empire contracted, its distant provinces, including Britannia, found themselves increasingly isolated. By 410 AD, the official ties between Rome and Britain were severed. The Romano-British population, accustomed to imperial protection, was left to defend itself against a rising tide of threats. This sudden autonomy plunged the island into an era of uncertainty and profound change. From the north, fierce Pictish tribes launched relentless raids across Hadrian's Wall. Simultaneously, Irish pirates harried the western coasts, seeking plunder and new territories. Yet, a more insidious threat emerged from the east. Saxon raiders, initially small bands, began to probe the eastern shores of Britain. Their presence grew steadily, adding to the already considerable anxieties of the beleaguered Romano-British. The island faced a multi-front struggle for survival. In a desperate bid for security, some Romano-British leaders made a fateful decision. Figures like the legendary Vortigern are said to have invited Saxon mercenaries to help repel the northern and western invaders. This choice, born of necessity, would irrevocably alter Britain's destiny. The arrival of these Saxon warriors was initially a strategic alliance. They were paid to fight, to protect the very lands they would eventually claim. However, this arrangement proved to be a double-edged sword. What began as mercenary service soon evolved into permanent settlement. Over time, a gradual process of intermarriage and cultural exchange began to unfold. Yet by the mid-5th century, the dynamic shifted dramatically. The Saxon mercenaries, now numerous and powerful, rebelled against their former employers. They demanded more land, more resources, and ultimately, more control. This led to widespread conflict and the systematic erosion of Romano-British authority. Many Britons fled west, seeking refuge in what would become Wales and Cornwall. Others remained, integrating into the new Anglo-Saxon societies. This period saw the emergence of a hybrid culture, a complex blend of Roman, British, and Germanic influences. The centuries following the Roman departure witnessed the fragmentation of Britain. A patchwork of independent Anglo-Saxon entities began to emerge across the land. Kingdoms such as Wessex, Mercia, and Northumbria vied for dominance, often through fierce warfare. These nascent kingdoms were far from primitive. Despite the common misconception of a dark age, archaeological evidence reveals a society of surprising sophistication. The Anglo-Saxons were not merely barbaric invaders. The spectacular discoveries at Sutton Hoo in Suffolk stand as powerful testament to this. A ship burial, likely for a king or great warrior, yielded treasures of unparalleled artistry. These artifacts speak volumes about early Anglo-Saxon culture. The Sutton Hoo finds showcased exquisite craftsmanship in gold, silver, and garnets. They revealed extensive international trade networks connecting these early English kingdoms to distant lands. Furthermore, they hinted at complex social structures and a rich, if largely unwritten, history. The late 6th and 7th centuries brought another transformative force to Britain, Christianity. In 597 AD, Augustine arrived in Kent, sent by Pope Gregory the Great. His mission was to convert the pagan Anglo-Saxons. Augustine's arrival was greatly aided by King Ethelbert of Kent, whose Frankish wife, Bertha, was already Christian. This royal patronage provided a crucial foothold for the new faith. It marked the beginning of a profound religious and cultural transformation. Christianity gradually took root across the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. This was not always a smooth process, and existing British Christian communities initially viewed Augustine's mission with suspicion. Nevertheless, the new faith spread. Over time, Christianity began to unite disparate kingdoms under a shared spiritual and intellectual banner. It introduced literacy, monasticism, and a connection to the wider European Christian world. The cross slowly replaced the pagan idols. Yet, the path to Christian dominance was not without formidable challenges. Penda of Mercia, a powerful pagan king, stood as a significant obstacle to the spread of Christianity. He was a formidable military and administrative leader. Penda's reign saw Mercia rise to become one of the most powerful kingdoms in Britain. He repeatedly defeated Christian kings, demonstrating that paganism still held considerable sway. His resistance highlights the complex religious landscape of the era. The late 7th and early 8th centuries are often regarded as a golden age for Anglo-Saxon civilization. With the widespread adoption of Christianity, monasteries became vibrant centers of learning and culture. These institutions preserved knowledge and fostered intellectual growth. Monastic scriptoria produced magnificent illuminated manuscripts, such as the breathtaking Lindisfarne Gospels. These works of art and scholarship demonstrate the high level of artistic skill and intellectual endeavor present in Anglo-Saxon England. They fostered intellectual exchange across the island and beyond. This period also saw the development of a nascent sense of Englishness. The Venerable Bede, a Northumbrian monk, penned his Ecclesiastical History of the English People in 731 AD. This monumental work provided a shared narrative and a collective identity. Bede's history, written in Latin, chronicled the arrival of the Germanic tribes and their conversion to Christianity. It helped to solidify the concept of a unified English people, distinct from their British and continental neighbors. It was a foundational text for national identity. Anglo-Saxon England also exerted significant international influence and enjoyed considerable prosperity. English missionaries like Boniface spread Christianity across the European continent, particularly in Germania. This demonstrated a confident and outward-looking culture. Trade flourished, connecting the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms to the wider world through networks stretching from Scandinavia to the Mediterranean. This economic vitality supported the growing sophistication of their societies. Kings like Offa of Mercia, who built Offa's Dyke, styled themselves King of the English. Offa's ambition and power were recognized across Europe, even by Charlemagne. His reign demonstrated the political and economic strength that Anglo-Saxon England had achieved. The island was no longer a forgotten outpost, but a significant player on the European stage. By the late 8th century, a new English identity had firmly taken root. The descendants of Romano-British inhabitants and Germanic warriors had forged a unique culture. They developed a distinct language, sophisticated legal codes, and a thriving artistic tradition. This period of flourishing culture and growing national consciousness, however, was about to face its greatest challenge. The very prosperity and stability of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms attracted unwelcome attention from across the North Sea. A new threat was looming. The golden age of Anglo-Saxon civilization was drawing to a close. The first recorded Viking raid on English soil occurred in 787 AD, targeting the monastery at Lindisfarne. This brutal attack signaled the beginning of a new and terrifying chapter. The age of the longship had arrived, bringing with it an era of relentless raids, destruction, and conquest. The peaceful monasteries, once beacons of learning, became prime targets for Viking plunder. England would once again be plunged into a struggle for its very existence.